WTUG HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. WTUG HD2 Northport, W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we played the summer, and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I really respect it, and I really back to the biggest mistake you ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. The Martin Houston Show can be found streaming live on Martin Houston Live on Facebook as well as on YouTube. And you can follow at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. It is a beautiful Tuesday morning, and this is a day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. Invite you to join us in the conversation. We'll have DC Capstone report joining us in the second quarter, and we'll catch up with him with his good, bad, and ugly review takeaway from Alabama, New Mexico State. Talk to him about the Alabama-Arkansas game and get his thoughts there. Also, we can talk about whatever may be on your mind. I got several different topics, things I saw this weekend, kind of a miscellaneous toss-up Tuesday set of topics. Alabama is so cool to sit back and you can just about turn on any game and see one of your favorite Alabama football players making plays offensively, defensively, etc. So we can talk about that. And of course, one of those guys, Joe, kind of felt like it was almost like a Back to the Future type of weekend this weekend with Mark Ingram being back at New Orleans and Cam Newton being back at the Panthers. You almost felt like you were one of those Back to the Future deja vu type of moments as Cam Newton, getting a touchdown on a run that looked exactly like what he was doing 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago, whatever time ago when he was one of the dominant players in the league. But you have to give a shout out. When sometimes records are sneaky and you don't see them happening. But shout out to Mark Ingram becoming an all-time leading rusher in New Orleans Saints history. Would you have thought that?
I thought it was a great weekend. It was a lot of fun to watch all the Alabama action. Mark Ingram breaking the Saints' career rushing record was incredible. But honestly, more in my eyes, we're kind of on the Eagles and Broncos game as Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith, they were going at Patrick Surtain the whole game.
Yeah, that was a very interesting matchup. like when you look at kind of real quick. But yeah, that was the Mark Ingram. That was a really cool thing. I didn't know he was that close. I guess when you have longevity in this league, it can lead to some nice rewards and also some records. So kudos to him. But yeah, Jalen Hurts getting better as a quarterback as a whole. 16 of 23, and of course, as you said, he and Devontae are getting more and more, comfortable with each other. Chemistry beginning to happen between those guys. Jalen had 178 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 53 yards, and of course, one of the top performances by an Alabama player, but Devontae Smith, getting in the groove of things, and he had another big day. He had 4 pass catches for 66 yards and those 2 scores, and he was the only receiver to find the end zone. So yeah, and of course now you see that a lot, Joe. It just happened to be that it was against the rookie cornerback Patrick Surtain. So definitely a big time game. Najee Harris had another good game. He had 26 carries for 105 yards. So like I said, Alabama guys making noise all over the place. Trayvon Diggs just continues to be a dominant. I mean, did you see him being that good? I mean, I guess if you really think about it, he came here as a dual kind of both sides of the ball guy, but we kind of thought he'd be more of a receiver, and probably gave a lot of that credence to because of what his brother was doing. But what he's doing at the Cowboys is pretty high. Picked up another interception. He has a league high 8 interception on the year. Just a dominant player. But did you see that coming for him?
Trayvon Diggs has been a huge boomer bust player for the Cowboys. He's been honestly, if you take the interceptions away, a little average in coverage because he's given up a lot of yards, but basically he's making up for it by making huge plays. And he's 8 interceptions already this year.
Yeah,
I think he's leading the league. He's got like 3 or 4 touchdowns already.
Yeah,
you don't really worry about the touchdowns he's giving up because he's giving you a lot. He's scoring a lot as well, and he's giving your offense a lot of opportunities. He's been incredible, and honestly, he's playing a lot better than his last year. He was good his last year at Alabama. He really was, but I felt like he kind of shied away from contact a little bit his final year, and I think that he's kind of he's playing for the paycheck, so he's going out there and getting it, and he's been really impressive.
You and I both feel the same way about his senior year. He wasn't gonna hit anybody down the stretch. There were quite a few times where it was like, oh my God, this guy is literally avoiding that guy. He had several would-be tackles that would have caused him to call for him to stick his head in there, and he just didn't. And of course, the result, ended up costing Alabama at times. But he's playing well. A guy, I got to get your thoughts on Mac Jones. You and I've talked, and has Mac won you over yet?
I mean, the performance was good. The performance was really good. It's just I think he's performing very well in the system. I think that any of the rookie quarterbacks that got drafted by Bill Belichick would have done pretty well. Probably Mac Jones doing the best out of any of them good to his system. I think that he's capitalizing off being probably the most pro ready out of any of the group.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as win me over, no. But that's just that's just an archetype issue. That's not really a Mac Jones issue. I just don't think that he could fit it in the tight windows. He had that nice touchdown pass to Kendrick Bourne, but he was sitting back there in a clean pocket, and he put it in a good spot. We've always known Mac Jones is accurate, and he's taking advantage of that.
Yeah. He now don't get me wrong, Mac Jones, of all the guys who started, Mac Jones would fit in the least places in the league. Right? You know, he would fit in the least places. But people were upset. There were two places that I think he would have been extremely successful. That was the 49ers, because Shanahan has shown the ability to craft his offense around his talent. And he still has some of those pro-style tendencies. And I think he would have fit at New England. Any other place, I don't know that we would be talking about Mac Jones being as good as he is.
He would have been good with San Francisco as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He would have been. That's what I'm saying. I think, and they chose, a different route. But I think he would fit because the guy who's there, playing right now for them was Brady's backup and who played well when Brady went out. So I think that he landed where he needed to land. And as a result of that, sometimes it's not always about how talented you are, as far as getting to from okay, from good to great. It is about fit as well. You even think about who would you say one of the best quarterbacks in the league is Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes will be good anywhere, but he's great because of the marriage between him and his offensive coordinator and his coach. They let him go. They let him play. They put him in situations. And that's what is happening with Brady. I mean, not Brady. Mac Jones at the Patriots. But do it now?
Yeah, undoubtedly so. Some people ask me, "Oh, do you wish the Bears had drafted Mac Jones as they were sitting there at 11?" And I said no, because he would, he wouldn't have fit very well. The Bears would have asked him to do things that were outside of his comfort zone, and probably would not have catered to some of his skill sets. You're exactly right. The fit matters almost more than anything.
Yeah, if they would have drafted him, they would have had to change their philosophy a little bit. They would have had to adjust. You look at the guys they all had mobility. The last few quarterbacks they've had that's had any success at Chicago have had mobility. And, and the other part is where are they ready to play? Where are guys ready to play? Is Herbert the best quarterback of the class before? Maybe, maybe not. But the fit was perfect. So, that all makes sense. But it was really cool just to see the Alabama guys doing well this week. And figured we'd talk a little bit about that before we got to DC. DC Capstone report coming up next. Got several different things I want to ask him. The phone lines are open, so if you want to get in on the conversation with myself and DC, please call the Taco Casa hotline at 205-342-9904. That conversation and more coming up next right here on your home for Alabama Sports, Tide 100.9.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no wrecks and traffic, pretty quiet this Tuesday morning. Please drive carefully. Have a great day. And if you do see conditions, give us a call, 205.
To all the action. Place bets on all professional and most college sports at the counter, kiosk, or on your phone. Then catch the game on one of our 20 big screens from the comfort of the newly remodeled Timeout Lounge. Plus, the PRR Sports app gives you access to live, in-play sports betting. Sportsbook at Pearl River Resort. Be more than a fan. Be a player. Must be 21.
Get in the zone. AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So your wipers are streaking. It might be time for a new set. We've got a great deal to help you get the job done and be ready for the weather ahead. Right now, you can get a $15 AutoZone gift card by mail or email when you buy 2 Bosch and Vision wiper blades. And we've got even more ways to shop. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Start your job today at AutoZone.com. Restrictions apply.
With the new law, more people qualify for financial assistance at healthcare.gov. Real customers like Taylor.
You know, I wish people knew how easy it was to get health coverage. This new law has made it so affordable. I'm only paying $52 a month, but there are quality plans for even less.
New law, lower prices, more people qualify. Enroll by December 15th at healthcare.gov.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Has the pandemic affected your business? Even with more and more customers going online in the past 5 years, online business has grown greatly due to the pandemic. Now more than ever, it's important to have a strong online presence so that customers can find your business and products easily. That's where Townsquare comes in to help. Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free competitive analysis to see how your business stands up to the competition. And if you're one of the first to sign up, you'll get $500 in free advertising on this radio station. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A nice warm up today. Lots of sunshine. Tuscaloosa's high at 73. For tonight, fair with the low at 51. Tomorrow, partly to mostly sunny and mild, the high 75. Thursday, mostly cloudy. A few showers possible by afternoon, the high 69. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 49 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Softmark Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at softmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Overflow Express Wash, overflowexpresswash.com is where you can find them online. Andy Phillips and his team do an awesome job of creating an awesome environment. And I have to give a shout out to Andy Phillips for his support of something I serve on the board of Save a Life Ministries and Choices Pregnancy Clinic. And we had our fundraising banquet last night, and Andy Phillips, if no pun intended, but totally intended, hit it out of the park on his first pitch to us and to the community. So thank you, Mr. Phillips. And I want to say thank you for that, but also thank you for partnering with the Martin Houston Show and being a part of it. Overflow Express Wash, overflowexpresswash.com, 2 locations, one in Northport, up on the hill. Also one down beside Alabama, one on Skyland Boulevard. So check out either location. Don't forget to get one of those great unlimited packages starting at $23.99. That's Overflow Express Wash, helping you keep your car clean inside and out. All right. That leads us into this great conversation with DC Capstone Report, joining us today. Good morning, DC. How you doing, sir?
Oh, good morning, Martin. Doing great. How are you this morning?
Doing well. Ready to get this conversation going. Alabama coming off of a big win against New Mexico State. The Aggies better the next time around against these Aggies. Just what's your overall assessment of Alabama from this past weekend?
Well, I think defensively we played a fantastic game, great sound game, made some in-game adjustments after the first series. They really impressed me. I think the little things that I'm looking for right now, these in-game adjustments and that sort of thing, I think they did a great job of that. Great emphasis on this is a passing team. They came out and to stop the pass, got off the field on third down several occasions. And I think the overall play of the front seven was tremendous. Will Anderson Jr. not only played a great game again. Got 2 sacks, but he took up a lot of blockers that allowed other people to get sacks as well. We got a lot of pressure on the quarterback, so I was very impressed with our defense. Impressed with Bryce Young. Anytime you go 21 to 23, that's hard to do against air when there's no team on the other side. So I mean, he did a great job in this game. So I was very pleased with that. And our offensive output, the explosion we had in the second quarter of 35 points, and the ability for us to get a lot of players playing time in this game, especially the difference on the offensive line. And I think that'll help us down the road, different combinations. Only thing, the drawback I have for the game was the injuries. That's always something you don't want to see in a game like that, but the injuries mounted up in this game, and that was the bad takeaway from this game.
Without a doubt, when you look at, if you look at it from a good, bad, and ugly standpoint, the ugly had to be the number of times the play was stopped for players to be not just on the field hurt, but had to be helped off of the field, with varying degrees of seriousness, all the way up into including surgery and out for the season for Roydell Williams. When you look at the running backfield, how you feeling? Because I think that if you watch that game, you really hate Bryce should have been 21 for 22. You really hate that Billingsley dropped that pass in the end zone, but did recover, redeem himself by catching the next one. But how big against the Arkansas and how big against Auburn, but especially, if we take care of business in these 2 games, barring some type of absolute chaos and collapse by Alabama, we'll be playing Georgia. How big is it that we get, a running game going and be able to help take some of the pressure off of Bryce Young against the remaining opponents?
Well, I think that's going to be huge, Martin. I think that's one of the things I talked about on my podcast this week was the running game and not only this game, but what does it bode for our future? And I pointed out, the good thing about Brian Robinson, he doesn't have a lot of miles on him. He hadn't been a lot of carries over the years. I think he's swayed his turn, so that's a good thing. He is in great shape. I think he can carry the ball 35, 40 times a game and be effective doing it. But our blocking is going to have to help. We're going to have some help in the run blocking scheme. Maybe get an extra tight end there to get the push on the running game if he's going to be carrying the rock that much. And then behind him, where do you go? You got Trey Sanders. And I think I love Trey Sanders. He's been through such a lot with his injuries and everything. But I think, to me, and you can speak to this because you're a former running back, but to me, he still looks like he's running tenaciously when he's in the game. And so, it's very fragile at running back right now after Brian Robinson, in my opinion. I'd like you to speak to that because maybe I'm not seeing something.
Well, there's some reason Trey Sanders hasn't played more, and it could be his belief. I don't know if you remember, and played for the Chicago Bulls, Derrick Rose. I don't know if you remember him coming back, and he ended up sitting out an entire year. And it wasn't because of his physical health. It was he just couldn't get back there mentally. And he would go out, but he just couldn't go. And maybe there's some hesitancies. Maybe there's certain areas, certain angles and things that Trey still just doesn't trust. And now he's at that position where he's either going to show that he can come in and do it or not. But something has been amiss there because it doesn't make sense when you see some of the explosion that he shows at times, yet he wasn't able to get into any type of rotation. And some of that could be that Saban literally just wants to play 2 guys because we watched Eddie Lacy, be behind Trent and Mark and not get in either. and a lot of people wondered whether he would play. And I said, I think he's just as good. He's just not going to get to play that much. And that may be the case with Trey. And we could see Trey explode and be that special back that he had coming out of high school. Hey, let's get Robert. Appreciate your patience. If you're still with us, you're in with the Martin Houston Show with DC Capstone Report. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, guys.
Hey, now.
Was good. I was calling in to fuss at Martin and Joe about their Mac Jones comments, DC. But since you're there,
no. You go ahead and fuss at us. I want. Now you should. I don't think you should be fussing at me. I think Mac Jones is really good now, but I think he found the perfect home.
Yeah, but you made the comment of there's not a lot of places where he would fit in. Well, I can see one place where he would fit in nicely, and that's our Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, I didn't.
Mac Jones our quarterback.
Yes, Mac Jones could play at the Steelers, but he would have had to be a second-round guy because they needed a running back.
Right. But we're talking about where he could have fit in. Steelers is one. I mean, Mac Jones, in my opinion, would have fit in 90% of the NFL.
Now.
Don't have a good system.
Do what now?
System anybody.
I'm sorry, repeat that?
I said, those places Mac Jones wouldn't fit in are teams that don't have a good system.
And most of those
aren't winning anything.
Most of those guys have gone away from the system that work for Mac Jones. I'm not dogging Mac Jones. I'm just saying you have to understand what I said. I said of all of the quarterbacks, Mac Jones probably fit in the least places because all of the coaches are going to dual threat systems and moving the quarterbacks more. And there's a reason when you look around the league that there's more Russell Wilsons and there's more what's that kid's name? Patrick Mahomes and there's more Lamar Jackson's beginning to pop up in this league because that's the way the league is going. I'm not dogging Mac Jones in any way. You can ask Joe. Joe and I've had intense fellowship over whether Mac Jones is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think he's a championship level quarterback. So. But I also think that the NFL is changing, and it would be no different than when, Randall Cunningham came out, Robert, when he came out many moons ago, Randall Cunningham could have played anywhere, except for they didn't have the systems in place for him to play anywhere.
I think, I agree with you. If they tell a system around Mac Jones, he can lead you to a championship.
Correct. I agree with that.
That level of talent. And that's what a good system does.
I agree.
Someone to create good system don't win anything. But go back to the other question I have for you in DC.
Go ahead.
The questions around the players that don't seem to get on the field enough. And I mean, we've all been asking it all season long. Why don't we see more of this player and that player? And this is becoming really puzzling and head scratching. As to why we don't see more wide receivers that that could help us out, and the running backs now. Okay, now we're down to two, and we're hunting for another one because the other ones didn't get in often enough. It was last year as well. They weren't putting in. Bryce Young didn't get many reps, but he probably should have gotten. What's up with all this? Not getting guys more reps. Even when games the Alabama's blown out.
DC, I'll let you respond first.
Well, I think it has to be simply that some of them just aren't ready to play the game. And when I say that, not ready, fans think they're ready. They think they're ready, but obviously they're doing something in practice that doesn't show they're ready or not. In the Trey Sanders issue, I think his is completely different than the wide receivers. His is like what Martin said. I think it's the head issue, not really trusting his legs, not really trusting his body that's recovered. And I think Coach Saban was a telltale sign the way he said it. He didn't say your normal way, next man up, got to prove his way, get his chance to opportunity. He said he's got to step up. And so there's something that he's not doing in practice that showed him not getting his reps. So I think that's a little completely different. Wide receivers, we have a bunch of them, and I think that part of them is their own because I think they're discouraged because of the great ones that are ahead of them, the ones that are beating them out. I think that's a part of our culture today, and I think that's part of that. I don't see anything going on as far as just wanting to win now and playing the players that are playing best in practice. I think that's what's going on.
And Robert, I'm probably going to be a little more skeptical. Let me try to give you a little bigger potential reason why. First of all, I think the NFL mindset is creeping into the NFL. I mean, to college. With the transfer portal, Nick Saban already had some of that NFL thing already, right? He's always recruiting. He's always trying to get more players here. And sometimes I really think he didn't play certain guys because he wanted to have a perception that we still need somebody. That makes sense? You see what I'm saying? Like he didn't want to show that backup was really good. Because the times in which you're talking about and I'm talking about is when we're up by 4 touchdowns and it's 10 minutes to go and we still have our starters in. That makes zero sense to me of why you would do that as a whole. That's one. But the thing that I know happens at the NFL level, and now I think you're going to see it happen more, and not just at Alabama, but everywhere. There are players who do not get to play in preseason and in the season because they're either rookies that aren't quite ready to be a starter, but they believe that they have potential, Robert. Okay? But they want to be able to just think about preseason. They want to be able to cut this guy and put him on their practice squad, right? But if they play him and he goes out there, then some other team sees him and all of a sudden goes, okay, that's a guy I want. And so as soon as they cut him, we're going to pick him up so they don't play him. Now Alabama has never had to worry about that side of it. But now that you have this whole new transfer portal and all that, that's a new thing that you have to think through and think about. Also, it hurts with recruiting if all of a sudden you have 3 deep at wide receiver and you're trying to recruit the nation's best wide receiver and those wide receivers have 2 or 3 years, maybe that has something to do with it because I agree that with DC on the starting side of things, like we asked, why is JC Latham not starting? I get that, but I don't understand why these guys don't play more when the game's out of hand like we saw last week. We could do that more often if we chose to, and we don't choose to.
A lot of opportunities last year, and it didn't happen this much either. So it was just, it's been perplexing to the rest of us for a couple of years now, and it's just but counting into the transfer portal now as a result of that in some cases. But
did you hear what Saban said when he was asked about the youth and age of his team?
What did he say?
He said that he thinks that this transfer portal may result in more of the older guys who do not see a pathway for them to have more significant time, leading to more guys transferring out. So, and if you play these guys more and they show more on the field, that pathway to transfer out becomes what? Easier. If you're a 3rd-year guy, coming up on a 3rd-year guy, but you haven't played very much, it's a lot harder for you to find a home, right? But if you're a 3rd-year guy and you've been the backup and you've played enough and showed enough significant film, it's a lot easier for you to pick that next school.
Well, one more thing, and then I'll let you guys get another call up. The transfer portal, if you guys could explain the rules to that, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's good to see John Hall back, and maybe he's not transferring. All right, great talking with you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Why don't you take the transfer portal? I don't think anybody understands what that is.
I don't know if any of us do. Maybe we'll get it on the other side. Talk a little bit about the transfer portal and how it works. I don't think it's that difficult. It's just how people are gonna access it. We'll talk about that and more, and want to invite you in on the conversation. So go ahead and get that phone out, 205-342-9904, the Taco Casa hotline, or you can chat us up on our social media outlets. This is the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9, the sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no wrecks and traffic pretty quiet this Tuesday morning. Please drive carefully. Have a great day. And if you do see conditions, give us a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan says, come on in. You'll get a deal. Low finance rates, extra rebates, and they want your trade. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Hi, welcome to Furniture Depot. And you, come on in.
Couches are flying off the floor at Cheyenne's Furniture Store.
Sarah, can you go over to dining sets, please?
She needs more sales associates before shoppers take their seats elsewhere.
Can somebody get me a price check on trundle beds?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1225. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1225. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1225. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-777-1225. 800-777-1225.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9. Streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
I like that right now.
All right, you're back in with the Martin Houston Show, and we have DC Capstone Report on with us. The phone lines are open, 205-342-9904. Taco Casa hotline open for business. Don't forget about Alabama 1, alabama1.org. Go there, and you can find out about all the great options that they have from a products and services standpoint. we also want to let you know that next week we'll have a Black Wednesday sale. The sale will kick off bright and early. The earlier you get there, the better the rate you will receive on that potential loan. There are restrictions that apply, but go to alabama1.org to find out more about our Black Wednesday sale. That's Alabama one together. All right, DC, when we went to break there, Robert kind of threw us a question out right before we went about the transfer portal and how it works. And, in the old days, old days being 2020 and before, you had to actually go to a coach and you had to ask for permission to transfer, and that head coach had the power, responsibility, and the authority to say no, you cannot. At that moment, you could appeal to your athletic director, and if that didn't work, then you could appeal to the NCAA and ask, and they could give a waiver. And they were so inconsistent in who they gave waivers to that I think people begin to say, hey, listen, there's no rhyme or reason for waivers. You give this guy a waiver, you don't give this one. So what can we do to make it better? And that was one of the things that the transfer portal led to, is that everyone would have an equal playing field. And the way it works now, and by the way, even if you went through that process and you even got approved, you still had to sit out a year. If it was like to like, if you went from D1 to D1, if you went down division, you could be immediately eligible. The other part of that is the school you went to could not give you any financial aid the first year. Okay, so that was a big hurdle to transferring for a lot of players. Now the rule, DC, is you can come to the coach. You're not asking the coach's permission. You're informing him that you would like to consider transferring. You don't have to transfer, but you inform him, I want to be put in the transfer portal. They have 2 business days, or somewhere in that 24 to 48 hour range, to do whatever they do and get your name into this portal. At that point, every other NCAA coach, school, athletic director, etc., can see that you're interested in transferring. And they can reach out and contact you. It's not meddling. It is free game. And if you find somewhere, then they can offer you financial aid and you can leave and be immediately eligible. The challenge is, DC, that you have to find that school. If you were to go to the transfer portal right now, there are literally hundreds of players waiting to be picked up in the portal who thought it was going to be easy. And it just hasn't happened. And so the other part of that is, at your current school, at the end of that semester or term, based on how it's set up, they can drop the financial aid that they give you so their money's not tied up. But a player also has the ability to go back to that coach and say, hey, I've changed my mind. And the school at that point can choose to accept them back or not. So that kind of covers it. I think initially it was a big deal, DC. And I think it will still be a big deal for the likes of Jamison Williams and Toa. But I think a lot of other players are going to find that coaches would prefer to have a guy coming straight out of high school on scholarship with great potential than a guy who spent 2 years or 3 years at a program and not really played a whole lot.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what we're seeing. It's you have your stars that make it when they go to different places, but for every star, you got probably 15 to 20 other players who didn't make it in those schools that never got out of the transfer portal. They got in, no one ever picked them up. So I think that's the downside of it. We see the glamorous side of it, the ones that make it.
So it's a tough part.
Yeah, if you just go to the transfer portal, there's a lot of kids still waiting to get that call, and they haven't gotten it yet. Two things that I think have been, we all thought at some level they were going to have bigger impact than they did, and that's the transfer portal and name, image, and likeness. Transfer portal, name, image, and likeness, they both have the potential to be bigger deals, but initially they have not had the disruption. As a matter of fact, they may have actually helped the game initially. And, I know Alabama would say, in basketball would say that it's really helped the the game initially.
I think when you said immediately, they were eligible immediately, you mean they don't have to sit out a year. I don't think they can transfer during the middle of the year. Is that correct? They have to wait to the school.
Correct. Correct. I think this past year, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, they could have transferred right up until the week before the camp or the week of camp. And as long as they went through camp, they were eligible. But they can't transfer it in the school year and be eligible. It's at the start of it.
If they could, we'd already be out there getting a running back this week.
That's right. So it's not like a free trade. You don't get to pull some guy off of they don't. You can't pull a guy off of somebody else's scout team and activate him onto your roster yet. Hey, DC, I want to get let's go ahead and get to a quick break here and then come back and a couple quick questions about this Arkansas game and what Alabama needs to do. We're speaking with DC Capstone Report.
Tide 100.9 traffic. From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, steady traffic on McFarland coming into Northport to Lurleen. 69 also steady northbound from Shelton to Skyland. If you see conditions this morning folks need to hear about, give us a call. 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan says, come on in. You'll get a deal. Low finance rates, extra rebates, and they want your trade. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Tuesday morning, a drive-by shooting in Walker County has taken the life of a woman. According to Walker County authorities, 30-year-old Jacob Thompson allegedly fired multiple rounds into a home Monday. Thompson was caught in Colvin County last night. Thompson has been charged with capital murder and shooting into an occupied dwelling, according to Walker County District Attorney Bill Adair Jr. The 16-year-old Akron youth was pronounced dead at the scene of a single-car crash in Hale County that happened Sunday evening. I'm Don Hardwick.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Carving. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Carving can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curve series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Carving. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Carving, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Carving can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Carving at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Carving LLC.
Is finding seasonal help on your wish list? You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform for interviewing, screening, and hiring high-quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
You know when you order a new video game, or a golf club, or a blender, and then it arrives at your door, you get a little thrill. Imagine how much more thrilling it is when you order a new car. With Nissan at home, you can shop for the perfect ride and order it without ever having to go anywhere. Sure beats a golf club or a blender. Buy a new car entirely online with Nissan at home. Delivered direct from dealer to driveway. Thrill starts here. Services may vary at participating dealers, subject to applicable law. See dealer for details.
Don't miss a play at the Sportsbook at Pearl River Resort. Your front row seat to all the action. Place bets on all professional and most college sports at the counter, kiosk, or on your phone. Then catch the game on one of our 20 big screens from the comfort of the newly remodeled Timeout Lounge. Plus, the PRR Sports app gives you access to live, in-play sports betting. Sportsbook at Pearl River Resort. Be more than a fan, be a player. Must be 21.
Dell's Black Friday event has arrived, and it's the perfect time to step up your creativity. With early access savings up to $300 off PCs, it's Dell's biggest sale of the year. Get more into what you're into with the latest XPS and Alienware systems featuring Intel Core processors. Save on top monitors, docks, and accessories, all with free shipping, plus great financing from Dell Preferred Account. Call 800-BY-DELL for Black Friday deals. That's 800-BY-DELL.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. We're talking with DC Capstone Report. DC, tell our listeners where they can find you, sir.
Well, we're at DC Capstone Report Facebook page. You'd like to go there and like us on there. We have DC Capstone Report website. You can also follow me on Twitter at DavidCott50. We have our podcast already up and running this morning for everyone to go take a listen to. And Lance's other sites, check out RollTideBama.com and FreelancePictures.com for some great Alabama content.
All right, DC, when the callers call, we have to take the callers, and you and I may kick our conversation down the road a little bit, but we got Tom and Curtis holding. So, Tom, you're in with DC Capstone Report. What's on your mind, sir?
Tom's dropped.
Okay, Tom dropped. All right, Curtis, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir? Oh, Curtis, you there?
Looks like he dropped too.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. But DC, as you look at this Alabama versus Arkansas game, tell me what's up with kind of an interesting matchup for Alabama. One Alabama's had a whole lot of success with, but what do you see as the keys to victory for Alabama over Arkansas?
Well, I think Alabama had a whole lot of success with Arkansas, but there's always been some tough games in there. And so I think that Arkansas poses a good opponent. They have a good offensive scheme and a good defensive scheme. But I think one thing that I've seen on film that I think we could use to our advantage is, and I believe Alabama had already seen this the way they came out in the New Mexico State game, and that is I believe the Barry Odom's defense is accessible to the RPOs. And I think that you'll see more RPOs, more up-tempo fast pace in this game. But because I really believe that we can take advantage of some matchups there with our wide receivers, and they got some great linebackers in Arkansas. And Martin, you'll know what I mean by this. I'm not criticizing them, but sometimes the great linebackers that have good range, with some eye and some hand and some motion of going to the running back will be drawn up, and you can really get a good slant behind them. And I think that that's on film, and I think that Alabama can exploit that using the RPOs, get our passing game and our running game off to a good start.
Yeah, and of course, I think Odom in his past has been known as a blitzer as well, DC. I think that, seeing the success that others have had, kind of leads to that. So, I think we'll see some blitzing coming. And as you say, the better a linebacker reads or the faster he reads, you can sometimes take advantage of that by having some play action and or, as you say, a lot of hand motion in the backfield. Arkansas.
I think another thing on defensively, we have a really good opportunity in this game to work against their outside tackles. And I really believe that that's the weak point on their offensive line. They have a great run blocking offensive line. They run the ball real well. But when they do pass, if there's a weak link in their offensive line, it's in their tackles. And I think, Will Anderson Jr. and Dallas Turner can have a big game keeping their quarterback in the pocket. And he's big and can run the ball. But I think when he's disrupted in the pocket, he's got a tendency to make mistakes throwing the ball. And I think we can take advantage of that as well.
Yeah, and I think Dallas Turner feels like it's Christmas on Saturdays, playing opposite of Will Anderson. I think I saw several tackles that he got, including his sack, because the quarterback was doing his level best to get out of the grasp of Will Anderson. So whoever's on that other side just needs to hold their own and bring their A game and Will Anderson will not only make some plays but create some plays for them. I think one of the
You
things
about that part, but I always said that the biggest tidbit that I like to tell is, Wayne Davis holds the record for the most tackles. He's a great player and all, but to be honest, people were running away from Derek Thomas and Cornelius Bennett right into Wayne Davis's arms a lot of times. That's what's happening to Dallas Turner.
Yeah, Dallas Turner and Drew Sanders can benefit from greatness without a doubt. Can the next 2 games for Alabama, if we take care of our business, actually prepare us for what we'll need to be able to beat Georgia in the SEC championship game? Arkansas is the number 6 rushing team. I think Auburn's going to lean even more on the run game. So we're going to get I think a heavy dose of some downhill running over the next couple of weeks. Arkansas is number 6 in the nation. Not sure where Auburn is quite yet. But with that said, what do you want to see? What do you want to see from this defense against this Arkansas run game? What stat line do you think would be a successful game against Arkansas in the running game? They're averaging. Let me see. They're averaging right now, DC, 233 a game.
Yeah, you're exactly right on point, Martin. I think these next 2 games stack up great for Alabama. They come at the right time. We got 2 good teams to play. They're going to be a great, solid opponents, but they all rely heavily on the run game, like Georgia does. And if we can get through these next 2 games, it sets us up well for the SEC championship game. But along the way, you take it one game at a time, and we improve each week on our run and defense. I think we've been doing that. We've seen that on the last couple of games we played. And so I think we do that against Arkansas. And I think if you can hold Arkansas to somewhere between 130 and 140 yards, you've done a great job in your defensive on their run game.
All right, what's your score if you got one already?
I got one already. Alabama wins this game, I think, and they win it big, 48-17.
48-17 for DC. DC, tell them one more time where they can follow you.
But you can follow me on our Facebook page, the DC Capstone Report Facebook page. You can follow me at DCCapstoneReport.com and also on Twitter at DavidCott50.
All right, that's DC Capstone Report at DavidCott50. And thanks, DC. We'll catch up with you next week.
Thanks, Martin. Have a great week and roll tide.
And roll tide. I want to apologize to those callers that I did not get to. The phone lines will be open back up on tomorrow. We'll get to that conversation then. Thanks for being a part of the Martin Houston Show. Thanks to all the callers, listeners, chatters, followers, and viewers. I'm Martin Houston. That's DC Capstone Report. Thanks to Joe Gaither for pressing all the right buttons. We'll be back here tomorrow at the same time, same back channel, Tide 100.9. And remember this, trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, and all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.